I've decided to entitle this presentation Loving All of You because the theme for it is really body positivity and self-positivity. And sometimes people have some difficulties accepting parts of them. And we are happy with some parts, but other parts of us we're not so happy with, and we may focus on those, and those may end up, making us feel really bad if we focus on them too much, or if we focus on some, feel like there's so many things about us that aren't good. So I decided to focus this presentation on the idea of loving all of you. So the myth of perfection, I wanted to start there. You guys can still see the screen. I don't know how to do this, guys, so forgive me. How do I stop sharing? There we go. All right, so the myth of perfection. So we know that perfection is a very strange concept. In fact, to be perfect implies a condition where your action or your performance is at a level of excellence that you can't exceed. So perfection in and of itself means that we have reached this point where we can't change. And you know that part of being human, or part of being alive, is that we are dynamic and we change and we grow and we don't stay the same all the time. And so this idea of perfection is the idea that you have reached a point and now you're not moving anymore. So perfection in and of itself is a very strange concept, because if you were to shift or change even slightly once you've reached so-called perfection, then you're not so-called perfect anymore, if you get where I'm going with that. So it's really a myth, this idea that there is something wrong with us, or that we have to obtain a certain space that we can just stay in. So I wanted to put out to you guys who have joined, in the context of perfection in general, how you've been used to interacting with that idea, what would perfection look like to you? What would that look like? If it was possible to attain perfection, what would that look like? So we can't hear you, Sarita, if you're talking. And you guys can make up anything, whatever it is that we've been striving toward. I can give you some ideas that I have about what would look like perfection when I've thought about perfection. But I wondered from you all what your thoughts were. No one has any ideas? No? I wish this was Zoom so you guys could give me at least a reaction. Are you allowed to give reactions on team? Oh, yes, you are. Okay, so anyway, so you guys are kind of quiet on this, but I see someone typing, so I'd love to see what Selah is saying. So the idea of perfection may be something like, my house is perfectly clean. Nothing is out of order. There is no dust on any surface. Everything has a place and it is in that place. There are no dirty dishes in the sink. The counter is wiped clean. The floor is absolutely mopped. There is nothing is out of place. Would that be perfection? Yes? No?
To that person.
To that person, right? And how long would you be able to hold on to that state?
Maybe until a mess comes along, another mess comes along.
Right? Until you have to eat, right? Like until you have to eat, and now you've cooked and your plates are messy and your dishes are dirty and you have to wash now, and now there's water on the countertop. And so the idea of perfection is really something that doesn't really work very well. And so Selah says perfection is being stable with money, moderate looks, nice, small, medium house, and good mental health. Great. And so if we stay right there, then we're at a state of perfection for what Selah is saying. But I'm hoping you guys are getting the idea that perfection is really a myth. And I included a quote here saying that humans were never intended to be perfect. It was a quote by Mel Schwartz. Because would we really even want to maintain something like that? And how hard would it be? And what would it feel like to stay in a state like that? Humans, in fact, are dynamic and we change, and that's part of our the wonderful thing about us is that we are dynamic and we change, and we have the ability to do that. So I'm going to try to share again. Yes, I think I can do that. No. Okay. I think I'm sharing. So this is a quote from that song by Christina Aguilera, I am beautiful no matter what they say. And I was putting out to you guys how do we learn what is beautiful? And I'm going to scoot because I see I'm already running out of time. The time goes by so quickly. And we know that we learn that we are what is beautiful from messages from our family, messages from the community, messages from social media, how people respond to us, and what we observe people getting. So if we see certain people getting a specific type of attention, we're like, wow, I need to be that in order to get that. Naomi Wolf wrote this book years ago called The Beauty Myth. And this is a quote from her. She says that the notion that beauty ideals are socially constructed, manipulated by advertisers, and marketed for profit motives is part of the conventional wisdom, not a fringe argument. The idea is that beauty is a construct. It's something that is created. It's not something that is real in the sense of there is something that is beautiful and something that is not. It's something that we create and that we put energy into. And so we can change that. And so as you see lately, what is the standards of what is beautiful has been changing. They've been changing. And so it's really important that when we look at ourselves and we so-called evaluate ourselves by comparing ourselves to other people, that we realize that each one of us is a standard. Each one of us is a standard. And it's not about the comparison. It's really about us being happy with who we are, because we're always going to be uniquely individual. So in terms of being able to accept ourselves and love ourselves, we have to look at what we say to ourselves. So Rene Descartes is very famous for this statement, I think, therefore I am. So I wanted to put out to you guys, what do you think? What do you say about you? What do you say about you? And this may be rhetorical because people may not want to actually share in this case, but it's so important for us to define ourselves and think about what we say about ourselves. What am I? I am what? I am wonderful. I am kind. I am special. I am loving. What do you say about who you are? What are the thoughts that you tell yourself about who you are? So the idea of neuro-linguistic programming is the idea that we can actually change how we feel about ourselves and change how we see ourselves by changing how we think about ourselves. So we may have thoughts like, I am selfish, or I am dumb, or I am not smart, or I am stupid, or I am, I don't know. There's a range of thoughts that we actually generate in our head. But if we allow ourselves to accept those thoughts, then we tend to feel worse about ourselves. So the idea is we want to notice those thoughts when we have them. I just had this specific thought. I can change the thought that I had. And by changing that thought, I can actually train my brain to have different types of thinking. So what types of thoughts would you like to have about yourself? What types of thoughts would you prefer to have about yourself? How do you want to define yourself? And I'll share with you guys a quote by Miss Audre Lorde. And she said, if I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive. And I think I will put that on the screen for you. If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crunched into other people's fantasies for myself and eaten alive, right? So how do you define yourself? We got so many messages from the outside about what we look like and who we are and so forth. But how many of those messages are really true, and how much are we going to allow those to define ourselves as opposed to us defining us, right? So one of the exercises I really like is this exercise of I am that, I am not that, and I am working on that. One way that we can explore our own self-definition is to answer those questions. I am that, meaning, yeah, I'm nice, or maybe I'm not as nice as I would like to be. Okay, I'm not that. I'm not really that nice. Okay. And then the other part is I'm working on that. I'm working on being nicer. I'm working on these things. So it's the idea that I accept the things that I am. I recognize the things that I am not, and I recognize the things that I'd like to change. And so I can stay in that dynamic space, that dynamic position where I am constantly growing and changing into what I want to be. So I consider that radical acceptance. And so radical acceptance, we're going to radically accept who we are. There was a wonderful presentation that I watched on TED Talk, and it was called Own Your Face. So if you're interested in really watching a very interesting, inspiring talk on what I would call radical acceptance, is watch this TED Talk called Own Your Face. It's a gentleman who was born with some congenital conditions, and so he had some facial deformities, and his talk is on owning your face, accepting yourself, which is what we're talking about today. So as part of this, we want to offer ourselves self-compassion. We want to offer ourselves self-compassion. So I may not be perfect. None of us are. We've decided that perfect is not even attainable or something that we would want, because you can't really live in perfect. But we do recognize that we're always striving. We're always trying to be more. We're always trying to do more. We're always trying to be better than. And so one of the things we want to work on in terms of self-acceptance is self-compassion. And self-compassion means kindness over judgment. So instead of telling myself, "Oh, you're so stupid, you made this you made this mistake," I can say to myself, I made a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. I'll try again later. And so that's actually, believe it or not, how I do talk to myself. I'll try again another time. It's okay. We work on accepting our own humanity. Everyone is human. We are all trying. We're all trying to be happy. We're not intentionally trying to hurt ourselves, hurt other people, or create a bad life. So we can accept our own humanity in that way by recognizing, hey, I am doing the best that I can, and I'm going to continue to do the best that I can. Sometimes I'm going to make a mistake. Sometimes I'm going to use bad judgment. Sometimes that's going to happen. I'm going to forgive myself, and I'm going to move on, because staying there in a place where I beat up on myself isn't helpful. It doesn't make me feel good, and I don't deserve it. So that's one way that we can really practice self-compassion. I'll tell you, I started practicing self-compassion with myself by using that word kindness and using the word gentleness. So anytime I recognized that I was being hard on myself or saying something mean to me, I would say, "Ooh, it's okay to be kind," or gentle, or something like that. Or I might say, "Ooh, that's not nice," in a kind tone. And in that way, I reminded myself, compassion, compassion, compassion. If you're having a difficult feeling, anger, jealousy, sadness, being afraid, scared, any difficult feeling, we can have compassion to ourselves. We can say, "Yeah, I'm feeling afraid, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm feeling afraid. I can do what I need to do to make myself feel better or help myself feel better. It's okay that I'm feeling angry. That happens sometimes. What do I do to help myself in this situation?" So we show self-compassion toward ourselves. And of course, self-forgiveness. So I would like to play a short video, and I'm hoping it's going to play well. Open link for you guys. I'm going to pause it right there until the video comes up. Oh, can I pause it? All right.
I know I can get it.
Why are you playing? Okay, so you guys can't see the screen, right? I'm going to put it on right now. There. Nope, that's not it. There it is. Okay, so check out this video.
I know I can get it. I know it. Very confident. Very confident. You say it so easily. Why? Because I believe it. But she said it with so much confidence the first time. But you keep on. Listen, we can't keep interrupting him. If you want, you better understand that you're dealing with an image of a 14-year-old child. And this child gonna be out there playing with your whole ass and he gonna give it rain. When she says something, we done told you what's happening. You deal with a little black kid, and let her be a kid. Just answer it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone. There you go. You say it so easy.
Okay. And so this is, of course, Venus Williams, who has won so many championships, right? Her and her sister, Serena, in tennis. And her father was the strongest advocate for her. But he was like, no, you are not going to mess with this girl's confidence. You are not. And so we're going back to this idea that we all have received messages about ourselves, but we want to instead move to this position where we are in control of the messages that we tell ourselves. And so here's the great Muhammad Ali saying, I have never let anyone talk me into not believing in myself. And I will add to this by saying, we are not going to let ourselves talk ourselves into not believing in us either. So we really want to pay attention to the messages that we give ourselves about how we look, about who we are, about what we do, and check those messages and say, hey, I'm actually doing okay. I'm going to keep working on what I want to work on. And that's all that matters, is that I am happily working on what I want to work on. So some ways of practicing radical self-acceptance: being honest with yourself, being honest with ourselves. And this is that whole I am that, I am not that, and I am working on that. So, oops, sorry guys, my phone is in my purse. So being honest about who we are, what we're doing, and the impact of that on our lives is so important. A very important place to start, to be able to say, this is the thing that's affecting me, and this is the thing I want to change, or this is the thing I want more of, right? I want more of this. I like this part. Using non-judgmentalism, being non-judgmental. Yeah, I notice this about me, and it's just something about me. I can choose to change it. I can choose not to change it. It's just part of who I am, as opposed to this is bad and this is good and I should be doing this and I should be doing that. Not making excuses for ourselves and just being like, that's just what it is. I accept that, and I can either change it or I can choose not to change it. And it's similar to not avoiding things, about us. I have this issue, I have this concern, I'm not doing well in this area, I am doing well in these areas, and I'm not avoiding the wonderful things about me, and I'm not avoiding the things that I feel like I need to change. And again, that compassion, bringing that compassion into it, and the idea of kindness. Okay? So in this case, radical self-acceptance would look like something like, yeah, I made a mistake. Okay, it doesn't mean anything other than I made a mistake. That's it. Nothing else. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm lazy. It doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. It just means I made a mistake, and I can choose to correct that mistake. So now what? So I made a mistake. I'm going to correct it. Now what? Now what are we going to do with that? So I want to share one other video with you as we're running out of time. And I do want to have a couple minutes for your comments if you wanted to make some comments. And I'm going to just pull up this video. 1 second. It's on Instagram. So if you, I don't know if you guys are following this lady or not, but let's see if I can pull her up. You may want to follow her. How do I go to that? Cancel. All right, so give me 1 second again, because I sent this thing to myself on my story on Instagram so that I could find it very easily, and it doesn't seem like that's a great way to play it from there. So just give me 1 second and I'll pull that up for you. Come on. Okay, here it is. Gosh, guys, sorry, it's taking me a couple more seconds longer than I thought it would be to find this wonderful video, but I do think it's valuable for you guys to see, because this person is just so motivating in terms of how she deals with herself, you know? So just give me the couple more minutes here to get that up. I thought I had found it. Oh, wow. All right, so I'll just have to skip it. Or maybe, let's see if there's another way. Click on that. Okay. Okay, there it is. I figured it out. I am not an expert on Instagram, so forgive me. All right, here it goes. This is not the right one, but it's the example of who she is.
What I am
There
doing.
it is. There it goes.
You guys are mad. You guys are start craving mad. Because I dare somebody to come and tell me that I'm not giving them in this dress. I dare you to come and lie. Come and lie. Please. Everything is sitting where it's supposed to be sitting. Even my stomach is giving a little bit of ginger, a little bit of pepper, Maggi, salt. It's adding. Don't tell me you cannot wear that dress. Oh, my pupa is showing, my stomach this, my stomach that. Don't you know your stomach gives you ginger? Hey, God. I'm saying, baby. Please, it's the stomach for me, honestly. It's the stomach for me. I so much love it. Everything is sitting. Oh, you guys. I don't think you understand. I'm sexy. You guys are not.
Okay, we'll see one more.
What I am doing is illegal. What I am doing is illegal. It is illegal to look this good in a basic ass black dress. It's basic. I don't think you understand me. It's basic. It's just a dress. It's just black. That's all there is to it. It's just black. Yeah, I look like this. I gotta say it's the filter. Hold on a second. The filter is off. The filter is fucking off.
Sorry for the language.
The filter is off and it's still looking good. Oh, nah, bro. I'm fine. I'm a babish in a black dress. In a black dress. Like, it's nothing. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it yet. There's everything. Everything. What? Sorry. I lost my senses a little. Damn.
Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed those two. The other lady, the first one with the dress that was kind of sexy, that is like her Instagram is amazing in terms of positivity and just self-love and encouragement, and just go on and do your thing kind of thing. So if you wanted to follow her, I think she's No Ordinary Noir, NO Ordinary Noire, but she's just amazing. These women, in terms of saying, accept you, love you, you are beautiful, you are amazing. And I just love watching how much they love themselves. And so I encourage you to do that for you, to do that for you, to look at yourself in the same way these women are able to look at themselves. So the last thing before we go is I'd love you guys to come to identify some words, some things that you use, that your mantra. And I know we've got to go. So, but if anyone has a mantra or anything that they use in order to inspire them or push them, or that is their fight song, or that is their, that is their, what do you call it, their anthem. What are the words? What are the songs that you use to boost you up? It's okay.
I was given a gift about 2 months ago. It was my birthday. It was a mantra band, and it said, "Be kind, be true, be you." Mm-hmm. I think that captured every essence of me as a person, and I thought that it was a very good gift because I guess that's what I represent to that person.
Great.
And that's something I just keep in mind.
Love it. Love it. And these things might change over time. And I know we're over time, so we have to go. But these things might change over time. And I'll tell you right now what mine is right now is these words by Carrie Underwood, because this is how I see myself and how I see my life, quite honestly. So I sing this all the time. I break out in it, and I am happy when I do it because that is me. I am invincible, unbreakable, unstoppable, and unshakable. I know that about me. That's who I am, right? When we go back to the idea of I am, right? I was born to win, right? I was made for this. I was born to win. And I totally feel that way about my life, that I was made for this and I was born to win. And so, the idea is, what are the words that represent your life? How do you define yourself? How do you want to define yourself? And that you are responsible for defining yourself, not the world, not the messages that we get from the outside. It's you, it's you, it's you. So I hope you guys have gotten something from the presentation. I know it's a little bit rocky with the Instagram. I'm trying to pull that up, but I appreciate your attention, and I hope you all have a most wonderful day.
All right, Sela is saying something in the chat. Okay. She said, even if, I guess this is her mantra, even if you were unwanted by those that made you, you are needed by those that meet you.
Oh, that was great. Great.
I like that.
And I see I am unique, special, blessed, and highly favored. That is so true. It is so true. And imagine if we go through life living that and knowing that, and that is the position from which we move our lives. Right? Yes.
Taquana is typing. Oh, and let me use this time to remind everyone, I posted a link in the chat that it's to an evaluation form that you're to complete at the end of today's Expose sessions. I'm going to post it again just for anyone that missed it. Oh, Taquana said, I am a strong Black woman. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. So wonderful. So thank you guys so much again. And I hope you take something and use it to go through your day and just remind yourself of the truth. A lot of those things that we've heard and that we've learned are not true. They're not true about us. So we got to kick that stuff to the curb.